Northwest, our extension that cannot sing. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Nepotism is being discussed again. Yes, the concept of a Nepo baby has come on the agenda as a consequence of a performance, if one can describe it that way, from Northwest. As you undoubtedly are aware, nepotism is the act of granting an advantage, privilege, or position to relatives in an occupation or field. So, for instance, Pa runs a successful company. He installs his son as director within that company, irrespective of his actual ability. Or, for instance, a parent may well utilize financial leverage for the purposes of securing an advantage for their child within an industry. For instance, somebody might run a company that spends a lot of money with a particular law firm, and as a consequence of that spend, leans on that law firm to take their child in as a trainee lawyer. Ordinarily, they wouldn't necessarily be afforded access or an interview. But because of the privilege that comes with them being the son or daughter of a major client of that law firm, they then get an in. Nepotism has been going on for time immemorial, and we repeatedly see that it occurs. It's not just narcissists that engage in this. Non-narcissists do also as a consequence of wanting the best for their child. Of course, there are others that decide, I could give you an advantage, but you need to learn to stand on your own 2 feet. That is a useful lesson in life for you. But here we have an instance where nepotism has come to the fore, with the consequences not only of somebody gaining an advantage and a privilege, but also in circumstances where it would appear that it was unmerited. You may be aware that Northwest, the daughter of Kim Kardashian and Ye, formerly Kanye West, recently made her debut at the Hollywood Bowl in a Lion King anniversary concert. Unfortunately, the internet's response has been far from a standing ovation. The 10-year-old performed as Simba in Disney's The Lion King 30th Anniversary, a live-to-film concert event, which took place on Friday and Saturday, featuring live renditions of the film's iconic songs by original cast members from the 1994 animation, the 2019 remake, and the Broadway musical. West's introduction by Jason Weaver, who voiced Simba in the original 1994 film, set the stage for her spirited performance of I Just Can't Wait to Be King. Clad in a Simba-inspired hoodie and a fuzzy headpiece designed by ERL, North energetically sang and danced amongst a troupe of animal dancers. The concert's star-studded lineup also included performances by Billy Eichner, Jeremy Irons, Nathan Lane, Heather Headley, and Jennifer Hudson. Despite the high-profile event, North's performance drew significant criticism online, with many accusing her of benefiting from nepotism. Social media were quick to point out that her casting might have been influenced more by her famous parents than by her talent. Somebody wrote on X, never cast a Nepo baby over talent ever again. The accusation being that Kim Kardashian paid for Northwest to be cast as Simba in The Lion King over her actual daughter, who was in the running to play the role. The whole Northwest Lion King situation just reminds me of the real world and how interviews for a job opportunity can go, commented one user on X. It's never what you can do or how perfect you think you're qualified, but rather who you know. We've all seen it. This is no different. Accordingly, West's performance was panned. Well, you can judge for yourself as to what you think of it, because here's an excerpt from the performance, so you can evaluate whether the young lady put in a good performance or not. Here it is. It's only a short piece that you can hear, but it tells you enough, doesn't it? Now, that performance was flat out of tune, and poor. And that expert is representative of much more. But I'm going to spare your ears so that you're not subjected to that caterwauling. There'll be those that say, well, don't be unkind, HG, that's just a 10-year-old girl. But the point is this. You're not watching a primary school performance where you might be a little more forgiving with regard to the quality of what you're watching. This was meant to be a professional production taking place at the Hollywood Bowl. I should imagine that those that were dancing around her are professional dancers. They're not people that they dragged off the street and said, can you throw a few shapes? Have you got snake hips? Great. Get in a giraffe costume and off you go. No, these will be professionals. And therefore you would expect that you would have somebody who would be able to sing. For instance, there are plenty of child singers who would be able to put in a better performance, some famous, some you'd never have heard of, who could actually sing. And the point is, of course, that with Northwest having this role, she's taking the position where she can't actually sing away from somebody who could sing, who ought to be in that position. And that evidently is unfair. But ultimately, why has this come to pass? Well, it's quite obvious. She's got famous parents. But if those famous parents truly cared about their child, they would first of all be questioning, do we really want to subject her to a performance at the age of 10 at the Hollywood Bowl? Is that appropriate? Is she too young to be exposed to the limelight? But of course, neither of them care because they don't have any emotional empathy for that child. Furthermore, they must at least be able to recognise that she can't sing. And by putting her on a stage in a professional production that would be spoken about by virtue of the fact that, one, it's The Lion King, which is worldwide famous, and two, that she's the daughter of Kanye West and Kim Kardashian, thus it'll be spoken about, they would recognise that the fact that she can't sing is going to form the basis of a lot of criticism, and that will segue into nepotism. Once again, they fail to protect their child because they're more interested in her being involved in the performance for the purposes of being an extension of them. They don't care about the fact that she'll end up being ridiculed. They will just round on people by saying, you're attacking a 10-year-old, what a despicable human being you are, rather than realising the real point is this. You shouldn't be putting a 10-year-old in that situation, and certainly not a 10-year-old that can't sing. You are a shit parent for doing so. But, as a pair of narcissists, understandably, they don't give a shit about the child. All they care about is the ability to triangulate the world at large by saying, hey, look at our offspring. There she is, kicking ass, well, if you insist, in The Lion King on the stage. This extension is there to make Ma and Pa look good. Unfortunately, it fails in that regard, but they would be focusing on the fact of the appearance at this event rather than the actual quality of the performance. They will ignore that. They will focus on the fact of, look, a member of the dynasty already aged 10 is in a prominent production and is doing well. There may be other things that Northwest is very good at, but singing isn't one of them. It might be that with the benefit of some coaching, she'll improve, and she may get there one day. Best of luck to her. But the point is this. She has been subjected to what really is a humiliating performance, whereby it's been recorded, beamed around the world, and there's been extensive commentary on social media panning the performance. And ultimately, whilst you might argue, well, go easy on a 10-year-old, the answer is no. This isn't a school production where you would give some leniency. This is a professional production. And she failed. And she failed because she can't sing. But the real reason why she failed was that the two people that are meant to be looking out for her are so self-absorbed and self-obsessed that they didn't think as to what the impact of her appearing might be. They didn't think to the impact of how this might cause her to feel as a consequence of getting roundly panned. Who knows? She could turn up at school and have the piss taken out of her by her classmates as they sing off key, emulating her performance. But Ma and Pa aren't interested in protecting the child with regard to stopping her appearing. They didn't decide, look, your singing voice isn't that strong, let's look at something else. They wanted to use their muscle, their fame, their financial firepower to say, hey, look at us. Our child is on the stage and is undertaking a performance. It's all about them and the assertion of control utilizing their child. The child is just a pawn. A child is there just to be used because that's an object that the narcissist simply utilizes for their own purposes. And both Kanye West and Kim Kardashian have utilized their child, who stands an unfortunate risk of becoming a narcissist herself, as a pawn for the furtherances of the prime aims. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for watching.